Howdy folks, it's Matthew, your friendly neighborhood technician, making another video for you out of Boise, Idaho. And this video is going to cover some work and service needed on this 2002-2003 Passat with a 1.8 liter turbocharged engine in it. Okay, and so this vehicle has over 100,000 miles, and as you can see here, the timing belt is cracked and wore out, and it's time to change it. A timing belt on this vehicle, if it were to break, could be catastrophic for the engine. It's an interference engine, so pistons and valves will hit each other, and you'll probably just end up needing to buy a new engine instead of trying to replace the head or anything like that. So VW Passat is a wonderful vehicle, fun to drive, sporty, but it does cost a little bit of money to take care of them. And so it's a pretty heavy job, but it's a lot of fun, and it is something that you can do on your own. Now, as you can see, I kind of have the front end of this vehicle completely disconnected and removed from the front, so that way I can get down in here and service the front of this engine. What I'm going to do for you guys is make a couple parts for this video, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and towards the end I'm going to show you how to put this back on, so that way when it comes to taking it off you can find all the points. But just to give you a quick run through, when you begin, you're going to have all kinds of little connectors and fasteners that you need to take off in order to separate this front end from the fenders and put this car into what's called service mode, so you can service the front of the engine. So you're going to have fasteners that run all the way across the top and the front. Then you're going to have to get into the fender inside of here and disconnect your fasteners from there. You're going to have to get underneath the vehicle and get rid of the splash shield. And then you're also going to have to get up front, as you can see, where there's fasteners here and here, so you can kind of get back in here. And there's clips right here, so you can go ahead and remove your front grille piece. And then once you've got that off, you're going to reveal all kinds of more hidden fasteners, so then you can remove your secondary piece. And once you've gotten to that point, you're pretty much good. Your bumper is actually only 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the fasteners on the bottom. And then you just need to make sure you disconnect your lights and all that other stuff. And then once you've done that, you're good to remove this bumper. Now you're gonna have 3, 4 fasteners right here that you're gonna have to take off to get the bumper off and get this whole front piece off, so you can get your radiator and your fans and everything out of the way, so you can service the front of the engine. VW has an expensive special tool that you install right here where I've installed these bolts at. That is pricey. I used to own one and then it got broken. Okay, you don't need to go buy the expensive VW tool. Just go and find you some long bolts that will happily bolt into the frame there, so that way all you have to do is lift your bumper up, lift this whole assembly up, and then slide it out like you see how I have it here. Okay, and you can slide this out. Make sure you drain your radiator and you disconnect your intercooler hoses and all that stuff before you do this. And then there you have it. Your whole front end assembly on the VW Passat will slide out, and you can now get in there to work. Now, the next steps, as you can see, I've already removed the front timing cover. All that does is snap in on the top up here. So just unsnap that and go ahead and get that out of the way. Now I'm going to also be servicing the thermostat, which on the Passat sits behind the alternator. So on this job, I'm going to go ahead and be removing my alternator along with my fan and my belt tensioner and all that other good stuff, so I can get down in here to my harmonic balancer, get that out of the way, and get my timing cover completely off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I think where I'm going to go next, though, is go ahead and get my upper radiator hose out of the way, and then go ahead and get my belts off and go from there. I'm also going to go ahead and get this fan off, so I will be right back. Alright, so using a hex head socket, I went ahead and I got my fan out of the way. So the next step that I'm going to go is I want to go ahead and get my belts removed. I'm going to go down here, and using another hex head socket, I'm going to loosen the bolt here and back here, and that's going to allow my tensioner down here to release, and that will allow me to remove the front belt here. Probably need two hands to do that with. And then from there, I'm going to use this ear here, and I'm going to grab my secondary belt tensioner to relieve tension, and I'm going to get that removed. Then I'm going to go ahead and get my alternator removed so I gain access to my thermostat and get this tensioner out of the way as well. Alright, something I want to point out here. Okay, VW and Audi, they love to use aluminum, and they use aluminum bolts. That's why these are the color they are. They've been treated. But that doesn't mean that they don't corrode. And so if you're going to go into your VW or Audi, start taking some of these bolts out, just take your time, go slow, because as you can see, they still deteriorate, and they can break real easy, and a simple job as far as VW or Audi goes can turn into a real nightmare for you. So yeah, when doing this job, just take your time, because this is typical of a VW bolt, and they like to break real easy. So I'll be cleaning that up before I reinstall that. So I just wanted to stop and show you that. I'm going to continue to move forward with getting the alternator out and getting my belt tensioner out. Okay, so now that we got our tensioner gone, this is where having a decent set of hex keys is going to come in handy, because as you can see, your bottom alternator bolt right here, you don't have enough room to get a ratchet and a socket in there, but you can get a hex key in there and you can get it loose. The reason why we're doing it like this is because we don't necessarily need to remove the fan clutch in order to get the alternator out or to get the timing off, and it's kind of a nightmare. You have to go back here and grab it with the right size hex key, and then you hold it right here with your tool, and that's how you take this fan clutch out of here. So to avoid that, I'm just going to use a hex key here to get in here, so I can get this bolt to the point to where I can just remove it by hand. And that's what I'm going to do right now. And as much as I wanted this shortcut to work, it's not going to. So I'm going to show you now how to remove the fan clutch. Alright, so here's a do-it-yourselfer trick. If you do not have the VW special tool to grab a hold of it, you can go to the store and buy a cheap strap wrench, okay? And install your strap wrench on the pulley there. And then remember to go behind with your hex head, and you can go ahead, as you can see, you can get the fan clutch loose there. So you don't need the special VW tool. You can go ahead and get it done with a strap wrench and your ratchet. And there you go, folks. With the use of a strap wrench and a hex head, H8 to be exact, we're able to remove our fan clutch off. We don't need any special tool to hold it with. So now next I'm going to go ahead, I don't think I'm going to disconnect. I'm not going to get back in here and disconnect the alternator. I'm just going to see if I can move it out of the way and set it down here. Alrighty folks, and there you go. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video right here. The only thing we have left to do now is set the engine to top dead center, and then get our crankshaft pulley remove, aka harmonic balancer, get our bottom cover off, and then at that point we can get our belt removed. This belt's pretty wore out. And so it's a good thing that we're going in here and servicing it, so that way these good people can have a nice car. See that? So there you go, folks. So again, start with putting what VW calls your vehicle into service mode, basically remove the bumper. All right, and then about the only thing you're gonna need are a couple of long bolts in order to do it properly, so you can just let it hang out and all that other stuff. And as part of this video series, the last video I will make will show me reinstalling everything so you can get a good idea as to where all the fasteners are. Then from there, you're just going to get down in here and just kind of, if you watch some of my other videos, I tell you how we work from left to right or right to left. Basically, just get in here and start taking things apart slowly and carefully so you don't break any of these aluminum bolts or tear any threads up. If you need to get back in to where your thermostat is at, go ahead and remove the alternator and you can get back in there and get to it there. In order to do so, I thought you could take a shortcut and not have to remove your fan clutch, but it does look like you have to, and you can do so again by using a strap wrench. You don't have to use any special tool on that. And so there you go, folks. There's the breakdown kind of in a nutshell. And again, the next video will show setting TDC. I'll explain what top dead center is. I'll show you how to set it on this engine, and then we'll go ahead and move forward with the timing job. So thanks everybody for coming out and supporting me and watching my videos. I got a couple cool projects I'm working on over at GoFundMe.com and Patreon.com. I'll post the links for that there. If you have any questions or comments, definitely invite all comments. I've gotten to the point on YouTube where it's almost impossible to keep up with all the comments, and I greatly appreciate it. So if I don't interact with you on YouTube, see if you can find me on Patreon or maybe even Facebook. It's much easier for me to answer questions over there and handle all that other stuff. So once again, folks, thanks for supporting me. Thanks for watching. This is Matthew, your friendly neighborhood technician, signing off.